Imagine this. You're in a room full of ambitious people, all chasing success. Some play fair, grinding, staying true to their values. Others, they lie, manipulate, and bulldoze anyone in their way. And yet, it's often the ruthless ones who rise the highest. Why? Is the game rigged for the worst among us? History, politics, business, everywhere you look, those without conscience seem to climb the fastest. Ruthless emperors, cutthroat CEOs. The pattern repeats. But here's the kicker. This isn't random, it's human nature. In a world of scarce resources, competition is brutal. Hesitate, you're left behind. Play fair at every turn, you'll be outpaced. Meanwhile, those willing to deceive, exploit, and dominate take control. That's the hard truth. So here's the uncomfortable question. Is morality a weakness in the game of power? Yet there's a paradox. While the worst often rise quickly, history is filled with their downfall. The real question isn't just why they succeed, but whether they can hold on to power. To understand this, we need to go deeper. We need to talk about Nietzsche. He saw power as an undeniable force, neither good nor evil, just reality. And at the core of this reality, a brutal distinction, master morality versus slave morality. Picture two warriors. One is strong, fearless, shaping the world to his will. The other, hesitant, seeking approval, waiting for fairness. Who survives? Who rules? Nietzsche argued, morality isn't universal. It's a product of power struggles. Throughout history, two moral systems emerged. Master morality, the mindset of rulers, conquerors, and leaders. Strength, ambition, power. To them, good is whatever expands their influence. They don't seek approval. They define their worth. They dominate. Slave morality, the mindset of the powerless. Built around humility, obedience, and self-sacrifice. It paints power as evil, suffering as noble. Nietzsche believed this wasn't a moral truth. It was a survival mechanism for the weak. But here's the problem. Slave morality doesn't stop ruthless people. It enables them. By demonizing ambition and shaming the pursuit of power, it leaves the throne empty for those who don't care about morality at all. While the kind-hearted hesitate, the ruthless seize control. And in a world where hesitation means defeat, the outcome is inevitable. So what now? Do we abandon morality and embrace ruthlessness? Or is there another way, where strength and virtue can coexist? To answer that, we need to understand the psychology of those who refuse to be victims. Picture a wild, untamed world. Survival isn't about fairness. It's about strength, adaptability, and the will to act. The lion doesn't ask permission to hunt. The storm doesn't apologize for its destruction. Nature doesn't reward morality. It rewards those who endure. And human society? No different. Beneath our laws and social norms, the primal battle still rages. Those who rise to power share one defining trait: ruthlessness. Not necessarily cruelty, but the ability to act, without hesitation, without guilt. This isn't an accident. So the real question is, if power is inevitable, how do you wield it? Power isn't given, it's taken. Throughout history, from empires to corporations, one truth remains: hesitation is a death sentence. Psychologists have studied what separates those who rise from those who fade into the background. The pattern? Unrelenting ambition, fearless action, and, most controversially, reduced empathy for obstacles in their path. This doesn't mean all powerful people are psychopaths, but many possess traits that allow them to move forward without the emotional hesitation that holds others back. Think of the leaders, the moguls, the conquerors. Julius Caesar to modern titans of industry. They don't wait for permission. They step forward, take risks, and deal with consequences later. Hesitation is a liability. Power is taken, not granted. And that's why the ruthless rise, while the hesitant stay in the shadows. But here's the paradox. Ruthlessness alone is not enough. Those who seize power without wisdom often meet spectacular downfalls. History is littered with tyrants who thought they were invincible, until they weren't. Fear may build empires, but it also breeds rebellion. So does this mean morality is doomed to fail? Not necessarily. But to understand why, we have to dismantle one of society's greatest illusions, the belief that the world is fair. From childhood, we're told a comforting story. Work hard, be honest, and good things will come. Justice will always prevail. The good guys win in the end. But then reality hits. The hardest workers aren't always the richest. The most honest don't always lead. And the kindest hearts? Often the most broken. This isn't a flaw in the system. It is the system. Fairness is not a law of nature. It's a construct, a story designed to maintain order, not reflect reality. The truth? Power and success aren't handed out based on merit. They're taken, fought for, and hoarded by those who understand the game better than others. Psychologists call this the just world fallacy, the dangerous belief that life is inherently fair, that people always get what they deserve. This illusion breeds passivity. If we assume goodness alone leads to success, we ignore the realities of strategy, competition, and power. And while we sit back waiting for justice, those who see through the illusion, they're already making their next move. But does this mean morality is meaningless? Should we abandon all principles in pursuit of power? Not quite. The key isn't to reject morality, it's to wield it strategically. The greatest mistake? Thinking that playing nice is enough. It's not. The ones who truly shape the world are those who balance integrity with intelligence, kindness with strength. Fairness isn't something we can expect. It's something we must create. And that requires power. Nietzsche saw this struggle as fundamental to human existence. His answer wasn't to surrender to the illusion of fairness, or to become mindlessly ruthless. It was to understand the game, without becoming a slave to it. There's a way to rise beyond weakness and cruelty. Nietzsche called it the Übermensch, the individual who transcends morality, illusion, and limitation. Picture this. You stand at the edge of a vast abyss. Behind you, society's constraints, injustice, the weight of convention. Before you, the unknown. A path only the bold dare to walk. Most hesitate, shackled by fear and doubt. But a few? They take the leap. These are the Übermenschen, the ones who forge their own path, redefine power, and refuse to be ruled by the expectations of others. But here's the twist. The Übermensch is not about brute strength or ruthless domination. It's about self-overcoming. While others are victims of circumstance, the Übermensch shapes their own destiny. They don't blindly accept imposed morality. They don't wait for permission. They create meaning in a meaningless world. At the heart of this, the will to power. Not power over others, but power over oneself. While the weak are trapped by fear, the Übermensch moves forward, untethered by illusion. But unlike tyrants and manipulators, they don't seek power out of insecurity. They don't need validation. They don't rely on deception. They don't rule through fear. Their strength is self-generated. This is why the worst people may rise to power, but they never transcend. The ruthless play a temporary game. They climb through force and manipulation, but their success is fragile. Their downfall is inevitable. The Übermensch, they play the infinite game. They build, they create. They leave a lasting impact, not just for themselves, but for something greater. So how do you embody this? How do you navigate a world that rewards ruthlessness without becoming ruthless yourself? The answer lies in understanding power, not as a weapon, but as a tool. Picture this. You're in a high-stakes game. The rules, written by those who play to win at any cost. If you hesitate, if you assume fairness will protect you, you lose. The ruthless know this. That's why they take what they want. But does that mean you must become like them to survive? Not necessarily. Most people believe they have only two choices. Be ruthless. Be a victim. But there's a third path. A path that blends strategy with integrity, that allows you to compete without losing your soul. Nietzsche's philosophy was never about blind domination. It was about transcending weakness while maintaining authenticity. Here's how. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing life should be fair. It shouldn't. It never was. The strongest competitors accept this early. They don't waste time complaining about injustice. They learn the rules of the game and use them to their advantage. This doesn't mean abandoning ethics. It means recognizing power is neutral, and those who understand it wield it best. Many fail because they assume kindness alone will bring them success. But true power comes from those who refuse to be ruled by the system, by fear, by the illusion of fairness. And in the end, they are the ones who rewrite the rules. Power is rarely given. It's taken. That doesn't mean becoming cruel. But it does mean understanding the minds of those who seek to exploit you. Strategic empathy, the ability to read people, anticipate their moves, and recognize their true motives, allows you to navigate deception without becoming deceptive yourself. Most people are controlled by fear. Fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of standing alone. But the Übermensch develops internal power, embracing discomfort, taking risks, and forging their own path despite opposition. The most successful people don't wait for permission. They create opportunities where none exist. There's a difference between mindless ruthlessness and controlled ruthlessness. Mindless ruthlessness, destruction without purpose. Controlled ruthlessness, the ability to make hard choices without hesitation. Sometimes power requires walking away from toxic relationships, making unpopular decisions, confronting uncomfortable truths. That's not cruelty, that's strength. The ruthless rise fast, but they fall hard. Why? Because their power is built on exploitation, not creation. The true Übermensch builds. Whether it's a business, an idea, a movement, or a personal transformation, when you create value, you become indispensable. You don't need to manipulate, you don't need to deceive, because your power is earned, not stolen. So can you succeed in a world that rewards the ruthless? Absolutely. But only if you stop playing by the old rules. Stop expecting fairness. Start mastering power on your own terms. And that brings us to the ultimate question. Is power itself evil, or is it simply misunderstood? Power is the force that shapes the world. It defines those who wield it, and those at its mercy. But is it inherently corrupt? Nietzsche's exploration of power wasn't just about domination, it was about creation. The drive for power is misunderstood. It's not about crushing others beneath your boot. It's about surpassing yourself, about transcending limitations, about becoming more than you ever imagined. And yet, history is full of leaders who, once they gained power, fell to ego, greed, and tyranny. This leaves us with a brutal paradox. Does power create corruption, or does it simply expose it? Nietzsche argued that pure power isn't about harming others. It's about self-overcoming, striving for greatness, creating new values, refusing to be shackled by society's moral constructs. But here's the twist. Society fears those who seek power. In a world that glorifies humility, the individual who rises above is often met with suspicion. But what if that's a misunderstanding? What if rejecting conventional morality and creating your own rules isn't corruption, but rather the truest form of life? Unfiltered, raw, unapologetic. Nietzsche didn't see the will to power as a hunger to control others. It was an inner force, a drive to live fully, to explore the limits of your potential, to forge your own path, free from the illusions of fairness. In this light, power isn't evil. It's a tool. And in the hands of someone with integrity, it can create unimaginable greatness. But when used to oppress, manipulate, or feed the ego, it reveals the darkest parts of human nature. Nietzsche's challenge to us is this: rethink power, not as something to fear, but as something to master, through discipline, through strength, through an unwavering commitment to becoming more than you are today. If this challenged your assumptions, made you think, and sparked a deeper curiosity about philosophy and power, join the Mystery School, a community for thinkers, seekers, and visionaries. The world isn't fair, but that doesn't mean you have to be powerless. If this video challenged your perspective, made you think differently, or ignited a deeper curiosity about life, power, and self-mastery, then you belong here. Subscribe now to the Mystery School and become part of a community that dares to ask the big questions, challenges conventional wisdom, and seeks truth beyond illusion. Let's explore philosophy, psychology, and strategy together, because knowledge isn't just power, it's freedom. Hit the bell so you never miss a lesson. The journey is just beginning.